Welcome to the Audit 15 Fun podcast. My goal with this podcast is to bring relevant internal audit topics to the table at least every 15 days. Today, I have my friend again, Alex Rühle from Germany, the CEO of zapliance. Welcome, Alex, to the podcast again. Honored to have you on.
Jon, it's a pleasure. It's almost, it's 2 weeks ago, I think, or 3 weeks ago we met, and
Yep.
I'm looking forward today and looking forward to see you in Amsterdam for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, a few weeks ago, we covered the IPPF, the proposed IPPF,
Yes,
right? The proposed standards, I should say.
yes.
And we talked about your new tool called zapBot. And towards the end of that episode, we talked about covering more specific use cases of how we can use zapBot. So we're going to be covering invoice data extraction using the LLM tool that you created. So I'll let you get to the details there.
Fine. What problem are we trying to solve? Um, so far, and that knows us and me, we are SAP guys, and we have a bunch of SAP data that we can analyze with AI. We're looking for duplicate payments. We are looking for fraud clusters. We are looking for risks and opportunities and processes in SAP. One point that's always missing is that people have the data and they see the risks, and then they need to manually follow up by looking at invoices. You go to SAP or Oracle system. In your case, it doesn't matter,
Mhm.
and it takes a long time for them to open up the invoice and look at the document and verify, um, basically by reading the document, what is in it. And yeah, so a huge bunch of tasks of internal audit is to review existing documents, mostly scanned. We have PDF documents in our systems. So the challenge that we're trying to solve currently is to use the PDF that companies have and use the power of AI to analyze what is in there. So, and the next topic should be quite clear to anyone. We need to connect the worlds, but before we can connect the worlds, we need to play with large language models, with AI, to analyze the existing documents, and that's what I wanted to show today. How we're going to do it? Okay.
Absolutely. And you're
So
absolutely right. That's the challenge, right? The challenge is not that the data is not there. The data is there, but how do you go about automating some of that process? And let's
yes.
let's get into it with your use case here.
All right. So we'll start today with, I'll share my screen. What you'll see is our zapBot. It's not a tool you need to pay. You can go there, just follow the link you say. And I've uploaded 3 or 4 invoice documents that I basically researched from the clients from our background. Give me 1 second, please, to share the screen. And can you see that?
Yep, I see it.
Yes.
Zapbot.
So this is the zapBot. So it's an AI chatbot. And the chatbot is the best starting point from my point of view, because everyone knows ChatGPT nowadays. So now let's assume this is, and we should make a separate video where I explain how that works in the background. You can do that next time.
Yeah,
Um, but
absolutely.
but for today, this is just to show you. Now imagine you are able to upload your invoices, and I took some invoices from the clients. Yes, they are in German. We are a German company. Um, and we uploaded these invoices here to our bot. And the challenge now is that we have these invoices. For example, this one, Home 24, we bought some bookshelf. Or we can look at that. We have also an invoice from China. I bought something, a camera equipment for the clients from China. And funny thing is, we didn't notice, side story, until we used this sample that this invoice is incorrect.
Oh,
Um,
There you go. That's our
And
best example there.
this is the best example. And we found out not by looking at the invoice, we found out because we wanted to challenge what the AI come up with and said, oof, what did the AI do? And the AI was correct. We were not correct, or the invoice is incorrect. So you could actually challenge and test the compliance of invoices against VAT rules. I know you guys don't have that in the US, but the rest of the world has VAT,
Yep.
or most of it. So you can check for VAT. Are you allowed to basically subtract VAT, and so on and so on. So we have these invoices, and then we go to the main, and I prepared already, and you can see just by looking at the prompt that this is a tricky one. And last time, as you remember, we analyzed the IPPF in comparison to the proposed standards. And there was a difference in how we formulated the prompt. And here also, we spent lots of time in finding a good way to see the prompts and to formulate that prompt. Because what we want to do is to ask OpenAI, which is still in the background, your task now is to review the invoice number so-and-so, extract the information about the content of an invoice, answer in JSON format. I mean, why should the answer be in JSON format? Well, of course, and you can already see that we want to automate that process. We want to do it not for a sample invoices. We use this for testing, but in the end, you can transfer a JSON format into any other format you can.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Before you go to the rest there, I just want one question here. You know, I'll pretend that I'm going to be the user. One question that I may have, if you scroll up a little bit, you have the drop down of the invoices in that read document tab, read documents tab. How did you get the invoice in there in the first place?
Still, my data scientist currently does it. And this is a very good question. And we should do that. How the zapBot works. We do it afterwards. And I have one slide that pretty much demonstrates this is not something currently, this is not something you do like that. You upload it and it's done. No, we have the Llama framework. I already explained that also.
Okay.
And Llama then is connected to a vectorized database. But give me a couple more minutes to use it on the this use case.
Yeah.
And then we'll go from there.
Okay. Right? So it's a question that we can cover in a future episode. But I just wanted to throw that out there in case, you know, people may ask, how can I, you know, upload my document there? So there's an explanation behind it, and we can cover in a different episode. So we'll continue with the question here, specific question that you're asking about the PDF.
Yes, and one more sideline, and I love your question because it shows this really solves a true use case for internal auditors, and it's not easy yet, but it's only a question of time until it becomes usable for anyone. Because the question in the background is, how can I build my own large language model?
Right.
Not the zapBot, not anything else, because the information is still confidential in most companies, obviously. So the information should stay where it is. We are still playing here with this data that no one cares about. So be careful what you do out there. Okay?
Right.
No, just saying. So
yeah, you gotta have the disclaimer. That's okay.
Yes. So very important, if a piece of information can't be found, answer not found. So you need to prompt and tell the large language model not to do hallucination, not to come up with some fake answer.
Right.
So the model we use, of course, has that reduced. Please answer, if you don't know, say not found.
Say not found.
Yes, and the required information is separate. Yes. And of course, we want to know the full name of the issuer of the invoice, the full name of the recipient, which is zapliance in this case, the date of issuance, the invoice number, the services that are invoiced. So actually something or everything that an invoice workflow should do, and what this already shows, it is so easy to build on your own nowadays. What is the business model of these? I'll show you of these of these providers anymore. AI is solving a lot of business questions, and this is what we all should be starting thinking about. And this is what we actually the reason why we do this here to initiate thinking.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. You gotta, like you mentioned at the beginning, you have to play with it and see where it takes you. So,
Yes. So the time period, the invoice amount without VAT, the invoice amount with VAT. This is, by the way, how we got to the point that. So now it is running. You can see it up here, and it is still running and running, and it's generating the answer. And yes, it takes time for the time being,
mhm.
um, but still, it now comes up with an answer. Your task is to review what, and your answer is the following. And again, I ask it to be in a JSON format, which it is.
Yep.
Okay. So it is the test business 123 somewhere in Melbourne. That's the invoice number, which I ask for. This is the time period is 1. The adjustment is 0%, the VAT rate, and so on and so on. And very important, the tax exemption reason is not found. So if you talk about VAT, a lot of times there are good reasons not to deduct VAT on the invoice.
Mhm.
And if you find such a reason, tell us. If not, don't do it. Okay. So we can do these things more and more. And if you look at the invoice 3337, you will see it in the document view. You can now compare it to the answer to this one here. It's sliced invoices. It's $85. It's a tax amount, but it's no VAT. So um, the payment dates are in here. It actually hit it quite good. Okay.
Nice. And it's in the
Yes.
format that you want, which you can use to however you want,
Yes.
that
And
JSON format.
guess what? Of course, this format is now in the chatbot. As you know, we are NIME fans. Um, good software for the community, free of charge, at least when it comes to the desktop version. So we already set up a easy NIME workflow that automates the stuff that you see here. Yeah.
Okay. And we kind of covered this before the episode, and my question was, can you do this with multiple invoices at one
Yes.
time? And your answer was you use the information here with NIME, and then you're able to
Yes.
do multiple at a time.
Yes.
And some from the audience, because I wasn't familiar with NIME, a few months ago. So it's a data analytics tool that started in Europe. It's KNIME, and there's a free version that people can download. So just wanted to throw it out there for people who may not be familiar with it.
Yes. It's for anyone that does not have IDEA or ACL yet,
Yep.
wants to start doing it. You can't say it out loud, but the capabilities are, it's a modern software that the academic community uses quite a lot. There's a great community out there um, sharing content for free. Um, it's great stuff.
Yep. All right. So awesome. I think any other takeaways that you want for the audience to, to hear from you based on this review that you did here?
Yes. This still is connected to the OpenAI algorithms in the background. And in the next video, which I highly recommend for anyone who wants to start playing, I'll show how things are connected, how we have set it up, and that's the future of these large language models. And this is the great stuff about the current competition between Microsoft with OpenAI, with Bard from Google, and the open source community declared basically war on these two and came up with great solutions that we can deploy in a private cloud environment. Um, this opens up really opportunities for the entire internal audit, but for the entire business community that want to have information private. Start playing, be curious. Looking forward to talk to you again, Jon.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And it's a good thing that they're at war because it benefits the users. So next video we'll be covering a little bit more background into the bot of how Alex built and an actual flow chart of the process. So we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Jon. Have a great one.
You too.
Bye bye.